I'll work you out, get you right with your physical. Always just another interlude. Asking all the questions, girl, you know I don't do interviews. It's pitiful that when I'm with them other bitches, I pretend it's you. Oh, you work at Kohl's, you in dental school.
What's up, everybody? We back with another episode of the Interlude. You know what I'm saying? Me, the homie Jesse. And then we also have our very first interlude guest, our boy Malik, aka IMAX. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and let you give a little introduction about yourself. Get started.
Let's see. So, what should I say? How should I start this? My name is Malik. I'm 24. I've been producing music since I guess I was 15, so close to 10 years, just about 10 years. Graduated from the University of Missouri, Columbia, MIZ.
You gang.
Gang. So yeah, been out for about a year and a half now. Still working on music. Got a full-time job, so I have 2 full-time jobs essentially. So, but yeah, you know, been doing this for a long time. Love what I do. It's awesome to make music, to have the talent, the God-given talent to make music. So it's pretty cool.
Speak on it, indeed. Let's see, Jesse, you want to start off with the first question for him, whether it's for him or whether it's just a general music question?
My question to you, what would be your process into what do you feel is like your zone for you to just like freely create, and like what inspires you to create?
I don't know, man. Lately I've been making a lot of music early in the morning when I'm off of my full-time job. So like this morning, for example, I got up, and I always get up way too early. I got up like maybe 7, worked on like maybe 4 or 5 beats. Just purely getting ideas down. They're not like they're unfinished, but just purely getting like the skeleton and the beat, and then I'll go later like today and patch it up and put some out whenever I have some time. So that's kind of my process. Or usually when it's late at night, I usually make beats like by myself. So I like to use headphones. I don't like speakers mainly because I still do live at home. If I didn't live at home, I probably would be using speakers. But you know, I like it better in headphones because I can mix and master better with headphones rather than hearing all those sounds coming out of a super big speaker to mess with the acoustics of your house. You know, if somebody has high ceilings, the volume's gonna travel out way further. But if I got headphones, I can do everything and hear every little sound and do it that way. But yeah, my work, you know, I just start with maybe a loop or a sample or something like that, and then go in and add my drums and kind of complete my process. So.
Yeah, like what inspires you to not only make music in general, but like, do you have certain things that might inspire a certain type of beat, whether that be a certain mood, a certain feel? If you hear something and it's like, I want to replicate that, or I want to play with the idea of this part of a beat, I can do with it. So like, how often does that happen, and then what does that process in itself usually look like for you?
And it's usually like whenever I go in and make a beat, it's just a simple idea, whatever that specific sample or loop or whatever sound I mess with inspires me to do. It's not really a specific, like I'm going to make a happy beat today, or I'm going to make a real dark beat today, even though most of my beats come out real dark. But it's not a specific, okay, this day I'm going to make this, or this day I'm going to make a trap beat, or this day I'm going to make a old school sample beat. It's just whatever I come up with, whatever I like at the time. So, yeah, it's really not no specific inspiration unless I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and make some dope beats today. So.
Okay. So when did you know exactly that you wanted to do this? Like that you wanted to create music, this brings you joy, like at what age? And then if you remember what age, do you exactly remember the content that kind of got you into doing this?
Let's see, around 14, 15, I always had loved music, but I didn't like know I really loved music. I always listened to whatever my parents were playing in the car, but it was really when I heard My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in complete form. Like I always listened to the leaks and stuff like that. But
yeah,
when I heard that in complete form, that was like 2010. Yep. I was a freshman in high school, so I had just turned 2015. That's when I knew. I said, "Yep, this is exactly what I want to do." And then I think "Man on the Moon" by Kid Cudi came out like a week, or "Man on the Moon 2" came out like a week before that. A week or two before that, and I listened to that. I'm like, "That goes crazy." And all those Good Friday songs. I was like, "Yes, this is exactly what I want to do."
You had there was definitely a lot of inspiration around it. And 2010, like
that was a time. That was a time.
Yeah, 2010 was arguably one of the best years. You had like Drake dropping "Thank Me Later." That was his debut.
Like the project.
Yeah, like Eminem came out with "Recovery." I think Pink Friday dropped.
You see me rapping you today, Jesse?
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, dog. I really appreciate that.
But yeah, that time of music is honestly insane. I think as we get older, like for us, like we were all like just becoming teens and just getting into high school at that time, which
exactly
like that's when you really start, because I didn't start really getting the ear for music and things that start sticking out to me until that time. Like that's when I first got hip to Cole and Kendrick. Like high school was when I started forming my opinions on like artists, what I think I liked in music, things like that. Like I knew from jump, like I love lyricism. I love somebody who can tell a story on a track. Like that. High school is when that happened, and I think that's like a huge development period. So like throughout like hearing those albums, and then as you start to go through your process, did you begin to kind of figure out things or learn like in music, I like these kind of beats, or I like when an artist or when a producer is able to do this, and then how did that play a role in your development and your growth as a producer?
I mean, I think it played a big role because, I mean, during that time, like you said, Cole dropped Friday Night Lights. I think that was like literally the month of November was like, if I remember right, it's like Cudi, Cole, Nicki, and then Ye dropping like all in 1 month and like classics. Yeah. So it's a lot of the inspiration is I wanted to rap like early on. So I wanted to make beats that sound like nothing else that came out. And I don't get me wrong, I really love like Waka Flocka back then and all of those Lex Luger beats and stuff like that. But I wanted to make something totally different. I wanted to make something that was like sample based. So I was just purely just trying to make something that was for me at the time. But then I heard Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that's when I like fell in love with all of these like lush sounds. It was like, I mean, that album is like some of the most simple like rap, old school hip hop loops and stuff and beats, but it had like such lush production and live instrumentation and stuff like that it blew everything else that I was listening to out the water. And then Watch the Throne came out like a year after that, and I was like, this is like I was trying to make like luxury rap music at that point. You know, I was just trying to, you know, redo those violins, redo those cellos. I didn't know how to, you know, play those things, but you know, I was messing around on Fruity Loops trying to figure that out. And then it kind of transitioned. Like I started dabbling with a little bit of trap song when different albums that influenced trap music came out. And then I was just trying to make dope, you know, hip hop beats. Like Hit Boy was one of my favorite producers early on because he made Niggas in Paris beat. He made Click by Good Music. You know, he was doing all these different, you know, he had like a Kelly Rowland and Big Sean joint. So he was like crossing over genres. He had the Flawless joint by Beyonce, you know, so he was doing all type of different things. So that's what I loved at the time was versatility, and I still do. But being somebody that was versatile in two different fields of music was dope to me. So.
Dang, Jesse, I don't want to forget this question. So let me ask this before I forget. Then I know you got it. But I know you talked about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and with that having the impact that it did, speak to 808s then. And then, did you go back and listen to 808s? Had you heard 808s before? Like, how did that kind of happen? And then how did the production of that and essentially kind of what they ended up doing for the music industry, how did that play a role to your ear? And then again, how did that play a role in, okay, like, the nigga kind of changing the game with production. Like, like you know what? Yeah, okay,
that's a loaded question right there because I heard 808s when it came out, but that was before the time that I was like actually a music producer. Like I heard like Love Lockdown when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is dope. This is different. You know, this ain't Graduation yet. But you know, Heartless was probably the most radio friendly single on the album.
Mm.
So Heartless was dope. Actually, Heartless was originally made for Jay for BP3. So that's where you get some of that real radio friendly progression and stuff like that. Some of the drums were super, and it was very catchy, you know, in the night, all of that. So that going back and listening to that album changed rap. Like it changed the industry. That was like a pivot change. Like the whole paradigm shifted in November '08 because that album sounds like nothing. It will never sound like anything else that will change music. That was like a time because you had somebody that was using tribal drums. You had somebody that was using old like '80s drum sounds. Was still using different chord progressions and stuff like that. But then again, he made the album in like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And made like 12 songs. But no, like even the intro, like how Drake did the freestyle on So Far Gone and how Drake was doing, everybody was comfortable doing the singing and the rapping at the same time. You know, even though he had like hard hitters like Jeezy was on 808s, like Wayne was on 808s, Cudi was on 808s, you know, but still that pivoted music. There is no Drake without the album. And I stand by that.
Absolutely. No,
I say that all the time. There's no lane for Thank Me Later because Ye's influence over that album, not even besides 808s. I mean, he directed the So Far Gone or the Best I Ever Had video. He produced a couple records on arguably the biggest record on the album with Find Your Love. You know, you could definitely tell that the influence was there. So
yeah,
that was a game changer.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Do you think?
Go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna say, do you believe that was a root, one of the root issues on the rivalry that came about between Ye and Drake? Because essentially, Drake, everybody know he was looked at and deemed as Wayne's protege. But as far as the sound, you wasn't gonna get that sound from Wayne as far as what Drake has honed as far as production and stuff. So it was like, in the end, he was somewhat of a student of the game of Ye, and it kind of, you know, it hurt him more. It really hurt him because
it threw him off because I think they just weren't on the same conversation because if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to make an album with each other right before Ye kind of had his period of, you know, he was dealing with some mental health stuff. He was in the hospital. So prior to that, like when More Life was coming out, even prior to More Life, you know, after Glow came out, they were working on an album with each other. So I think that whole period just kind of split everybody was going their each separate ways. And when they linked back up, nobody was on the same page. So I think part of it is Ye is kind of hurt because Drake is not giving him his just due. And it's hard. I hope they don't see this interview because I want to produce for both of them one day. But it's, you know, that's just my interpretation of it is Drake, you know, not aligning with what Ye saying, and then with the thing with his kid, and then the Pusha thing. You know, it's really hard to have a relationship with a mentor when another one of these mentors' proteges is jabbing at you on a fire album. You know, arguably the dopest album of that year. He's jabbing at you, and it's hard to say, okay, Ye, you know, can you tell Pusha to kind of stop? And Pusha's like, no, I'm trying to make the greatest album of this year. I'm trying to do this, you know.
Look, Push a different breed. But I think you gotta have a lot of context of not just Ye and Drake's relationship, but the relationship between Good Music and Young Money to understand everything that's going on. Because the funny part about all of that is Ye is way more innocent than people give him credit for in that particular
instance.
Because if people have been following and watched Push's interview on Joe Budden and them, you learn that Ye didn't say nothing. Like Ye, like if you know Push, you should understand that Push is a different breed. Push comes from a different era, so Push don't care.
Pusha is like
Push don't care about none of that.
He don't care about no fame, no TMZ. He don't care. I mean, Daytona did numbers.
He just want to rap and really want the truth.
Just want to rap.
I think that kind of pushed the envelope for niggas that wanted everything to say about Drake, and not in the sense of hating, but in the sense of hip hop for them, it's a lot of old
culture,
niggas.
right?
Yeah, for the culture that's like, this nigga is not really for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because the Drake that we knew and what he was becoming less lyrical and more melodic. So from what we heard, as far as, even though he came up melodic, he had a melodic lyrical sense to him. Drake that we know now, all of that shit is lost. That's why when we hear tracks like what I want to say, Do Not Disturb or any shit, I feel like when we hear a track that's lyrical, it's just like, damn, if Drake could have stayed in this lane, what could have been?
Okay,
like,
I see what you're saying.
If he had this sound.
Because Drake has the thing that's upset me the most about Drake as an artist is that he's shown, one, he has the ability to rap, but doesn't do it all the time. And not saying that he has to stick into that lane, but I just wish he did it more. It's like I just wish he did it more, especially if that is the purpose of that particular album. And then on to albums, he's shown he can make a cohesive album and has yet to do that since maybe probably Nothing Was the Same was his last like cohesive album, which is personally what I think is his best because of that cohesiveness. Take Care is very, very close second, is right there. But the cohesiveness, Nothing Was the Same. Since he's able to do it, now I'm like, what is stopping you from doing it again? Like, what now, where you are as an artist, is making you not be able to replicate, not the process, because that's difficult, but
Every album, bro, comes out the gate. When you think of his intros, like Fireworks, he had 3 crazy verses on there.
Just 11 might be one of the craziest intros I've ever heard. Sample bars, ridiculous.
I mean, like, what was the intro on Take Care? Over My Dead Body. Came out there fire, Tuscan Leather. Like all the intros. Like the only intro I would say that he didn't come out the gate like swinging was like Views. Because I guess he had some on his chest that he had to get out. But like, even Scorpion, even Survival is one of my favorite Drake songs because that beat goes crazy. And he's coming out the gate swinging after the push a few, after he goes back and redoes the album and adds, certain songs on there like 8 out of 10 and stuff like that. He comes out the gate swinging. But if we can get that for, I don't. No diss to anybody that's doing 21 song albums, but I'm not trying to hear that. Like
we don't need
give me 10 songs. Give me 10 songs, and I'm cool,
I always said I think the perfect length of an album, and me and Jessica talk about this on our best recordings, but the perfect length of an album to me, I think 13 is like a very, very strong cap. Like if you give me 13 solid tracks, maybe a relaxed track or a transition track in there, but 13 is like a cap for me. Because once you get to 13, you more than likely pushing an hour, depending on it, like how long your songs are.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, and my thing is this: I'm not saying every album got to be this deep theme, deep contextual album, but I feel like every album should be some form of a story. And not a story like a literal story, but the music should be telling some kind of story. And if you can't do that in 13 songs, I don't know.
It's hard because I get on the other end of the spectrum, I get what Ye was doing with the 7 songs and telling the story. But at the same time, like an album like Astroworld, which other than Daytona, that's probably the best album of 2018. I mean, when I was listening to it the first time, I had never, other than like Dark Twisted Fantasy and other albums that are like some of the greatest, I hadn't listened to an album where I was on the edge of my seat, like track after track. You didn't even know when tracks were transitioning. You didn't even know, like, it was just a moment. Every song was a moment going from like Stargazing to Carousel to Sicko Mode. That stretch right there coming out the gate is like, I haven't heard that before. And every song was different. Every song had its own story. Every song was cohesive. It had a nice start to finish, and I think that's what we need back in hip hop. K-Dot did that for Damn, so every song had a Jesse like I need that back.
No, listen.
We need that back.
Need that back. I'll run Damn forward. I'll run it backwards. Don't matter.
Yes, sir. The backwards version maybe goes crazy than the front version.
I have a question for you. As someone that's a producer, what do you feel like the Baby needs to do to evolve his sound more? Like, what would you get him to test as far as his range as the box out of a rapper, but as an artist that can still, because we know Baby can flow.
Man,
we know he can
right.
flow. That's nothing. But it's the sound. What sound would you give him that'd be like, nigga, stick to this for a little minute for a change, like through a tape?
Right.
This bitch is fly. Like, what sound do you think you would fit him?
Man, and I've had this conversation with other people before, so it's not like it's ironic that other people, you know, are noticing it, because if he links up, and no knock to Jessen, I think what he's doing is dope. Like, he worked with Jack Harlow, and that song that he got with him goes crazy. But I think he needs to go into somebody like a producer's realm. He needs that one producer to take him there, like a Timbaland or like a Pharrell, to take him there to take him to their land for a little bit and have him flow over a little bit slower BPM, because all of his BPMs are like 150, 155, so they all sound the same. But kick it down a notch to like 130, or at least back to 140 where radio is most of the time, and then just stay in that lane, work with a specific producer, and kind of hone in on that sound. Because I think he needs something to kind of change it up to evolve as an artist. Because to me, the scope of somebody's career is how they evolve as an artist, not necessarily how they change an album. Like, their album doesn't have to flip the script, but how they evolve as an artist in terms of beat selection. And I think personally with an artist, we need artists that have better beat selection, but the people around them, their A&Rs, the people that do beat selection for them. That's why, again, I think Astroworld sounds like how it is, because Sycamore, there's Travis's A&R, the beat selection is impeccable. Like, you could tell that Travis picked some of those, but like the stuff that he was getting to him is like crazy. And I think we need more A&Rs. That's something personally that I want to do later in life. Yeah. We need better A&Rs in the industry, because they just feeding them, which is working. They're feeding them what's working. But if they want to actually evolve and become the greatest and not be lost in this generation that sounds the same, they need to do this, you know?
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Nobody's A&R is not practicing. Kind of basically, you're saying they're not practicing longevity with the artists. It's like, we'll push you for this about good 2 years. Like, you'll be good for 2 years, and then after that, you still sign to the label, but you got to do what you got to do. Like, you need to make that money, basically.
Yeah, A&R's push for today. They push for the sound of today. They push for what's hot now, because they're gonna get the money now. Like, the thing is, it's messed up because it leaves it up to a lot of artists themselves to make that change, or to just have enough of it to be worth investing time in.
But that's where that artistry comes in, though.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't have that in. Like, there's very few people that have artistry themselves. For the most part, a lot of today's artists, especially, have had their artistry developed in some way, form, or fashion, which is not a problem. But to your point, you don't have as many people anymore. There are stories throughout music where a lot of people weren't billed right or sold right, and that's the reason careers didn't take off. There's a lot of great musicians and great artists who weren't billed right, and that's why they're not bigger, or bigger names.
But it's like, if you got that platform, strike while the iron is hot. Like, a Cardi B, like Cardi B's next album, I'll be sitting down with the label, like, I'll be on Zoom with them every week, like, what kind of beats are we getting? Like, but that's just me. I don't know if an artist is thinking about that, but if I was a person that wanted to evolve my career, let's do this. Like, Kendrick is a perfect example. Like, from I forget what the project is with the black cover, where you had not college. What song was on there? The Michael Jordan song. Well, I forget what that project. Overly Dedicated. That project into like Section 80, into like
the evolution.
Good Kid, Mad City, to
and every album is different. It's completely
every album is different. But if you notice, he uses like the same core producers for every album, but it sounds different. How does that happen? That sounds like artistry to me,
Yeah, but that's also his team.
Right.
That's also his team.
Right.
You got to think TDE. Top Dog. If anybody has done their research or just reads, articles that come out, stuff like that, Top Dog is like that. Like, especially when you have when you have somebody like Top Dog who's very specific and very particular, but in the sense of like, if some shit is whack, or if you've done some shit before, or if the music you're making is beneath your potential, like I'm gonna let you know, and it's not gonna drop. Cause it is, and it's simple as that. And you need people in your
Too
corner.
many yes men, right?
You need people in your corner saying, nah, like you gotta go harder, nah, like you gotta do A, B, and C. It's crazy because I just I sent it to Jesse, but somebody else sent it to me. Like a couple days ago, Boss dropped this picture with him, Cole, and Kendrick in the studio, and they was talking about how Boss and Cole want to leave Purge off of Milky Way because they want to go with a certain sound for the album. But Dot said they was tripping. He said Kendrick said they was tripping, and that's how Purge basically Purge made the album because of Kendrick. And it's like, if it's just Cole and Boss, they go with a certain sound and they go with, you know, the melodic tone of the album. But you need somebody, like, why would you leave this off the album? Like, that's stupid. Like, this is different, but this works. But again, you have so many people in the industry that the artist gets to a point where nobody wants to upset the artist for whatever reason. And so, so you have these yes men, and then it becomes a thing of, they make
but you need that.
You do. I mean, you do need yes men. You do need. Not put it like this. You don't need yes men. You need people in your corner. You need people artists.
Yeah, you need a solid corner, and I feel like I like because Cole even talked about it. He talked about it on Revenge of the Dreamers 3 tape. You know, on Sacrifices at the end, as far as like in the industry, and like if you were a big following of Cole, like a lot of his sound was falling in that category of Wale, which is why he was losing. You know, he was losing that nigga. You got it, but we gonna overlook you because of what you're talking about. Because it's like I'm gonna talk about that real shit. But I'm gonna talk about that real shit where I need y'all to look at me. Like I need y'all to see what I'm doing type shit like that. But Kendrick is like the spotlight on me.
It's hard when somebody like Cole, and I know he's told the story before of how Who Dat was his first, not Who Dat, but Workout was just his first thing. And don't get me wrong, Workout is smash, but we looking at Cole like he talked about that on Let Dimes Down. You know, you really drop a single like that just to support the radio, like.
Yeah.
You could have dropped these like
the label,
all the joints on the label.
To know, and the thing is to know, and like, well, all of us, I'm pretty sure, I know me and Jesse, like we follow Cole. So in my mind, Cole, I know you got some hard shit in the chamber. I know you do. Why is the? I mean, but one thing I guess I can say, especially during that time and still now, a lot of artists don't have a voice to make that decision. And it sucks because it's going to be up to the label, because they're not, like Cole at that time wasn't in a position to say, I mean, he could have, but it also could have had a very, very, you know, it could have changed his career drastically depending on how the label backed him, this, that, and the third.
Right.
It's the same reason Friday Night Lights won the album and ended up being a mixtape because of the label, you know what I'm saying? So it's, Hey, I will never forgive them for Friday Night Lights not being able to be that.
I will never forgive whoever.
If that's an album, if that's a debut album, that's a top 5 debut album all time.
I'm not gonna knock Rock Nation because I don't think it was Jay per se. I think it was the parent company.
Yeah.
Columbia was saying, you know, let's hold off. But you mean to tell me if Cole went to the meeting at Columbia and he played Jive Before I'm Gone, Enchanted, Blow Up,
Too Deep for the Intro,
Too Deep for the Intro, Higher, you mean to tell me none of them are the first single to Sideline Story?
Right.
Nigga, Blow Up.
Come on now.
If
Blow Up, that's a single.
Blow Up should have been a single.
Ridiculous, bro. So I mean, but that happens with a lot of artists, unfortunately, and so it's messed up because I think that's why I said it comes down to. Sometimes it comes down to talent or it just comes down to who is patient enough. It's one of those two. Because either you just have the talent that you're going to be able to overcome some of those early obstacles as an artist, or you're patient enough to realize, okay, let me progress, but let me get these albums out the way. And before I can change labels or whatever type of deal, or before I can go independent. Because that's another thing. But now a lot of artists will go independent first so they don't deal with the label issues. And we get, you know, projects that we may have had to wait for early because they don't have to deal with a label telling them, well, we going to push it or we not.
I think that was the beautiful thing that happened with 21 Savage. And because when you talk about the evolution of an artist that a lot of people overlook, like simply we talking about now times. When 21 came up, we was like, okay, he's gonna fall in that category of niggas like Migos. Niggas, you know, they sound good on the track. They shit is sliding a whip. You know what I'm saying? Bass hitting and shit like that. And then when he came back with, you know, I'm greater than what I was, it was like,
hey, I was listening and I'm like, I remember, I'm like,
when I heard a lot on
like,
the intro, I said, wow.
Hey, I was in the whip and I said, hey, I was in the whip and I was like, I'm listening. This 21 album? Hold on. I said, wait a minute.
I mean, with the Cole feature, he had a Childish Gambino feature on the album. He had that Travis feature that was on the deluxe edition. But when he come out and he worked with a producer like, I mean, the dude that produced the intro was DJ Dai, who works with like K-Dot a lot.
Yeah.
Has produced like Loyalty and stuff like that and Money Trees for K-Dot. When he comes out with that and the video and the whole, that's the evolution of an artist right there. You know?
And it's crazy that, and like you said, like Jesse said, like a lot of people aren't talking about that because I don't even think a lot of people really, like this whole conversation, I think there's a small bubble of people that actually understand it, not from a sense of like they don't get it or don't know, but truly understand the ins and outs and understanding that sometimes it's about striking iron at the right time or being lucky.
Right.
Shit just pop up at the right time. Because sometimes, because we was having this other conversation for a lot of artists, if somebody's in your lane, it's really difficult to separate yourself. It may not be that you don't got the talent. Somebody else just took over the lane before you did. And it's your window. You miss your window. And in music, it's about windows. Like if you don't make it in your window, if you don't strike in your window and create your own lane, you don't have a lot of time to establish
it comes
yourself.
down certain weekends. You know how like albums drop on Fridays now? Yeah. Some people push their album to get out of a way from somebody. And I think we've missed that. I think
I'd say Hitchcock did that recently. Like he knew all these big releases that a lot of people were gonna flock to for Friday and Thursday night. He released his a week before on the Wednesday, and it was just like that bitch.
Let me dodge everybody. Right.
Yeah.
I just think we've missed that because some people, it's just like a movie release. Some movie companies will move the entire date because they know something is bigger is dropping. But I think we've missed that in music. It's like because the luxury of streaming, we could drop it any day, anytime we want to. But I think it was just fun in that age where Cole moved up his album release 2 weeks to be with like Mac and Ye on the same day. That's the fun in it. Like he knew he was gonna do numbers, but he knew he was gonna do those massive numbers. And the label was probably like, whoa, what do you want to do? But that's the fun in it all. Like I mean, I might not ever have this opportunity. He won't with Mac passing away. He'll never be able to say, I dropped with Mac and Ye on the same day again. That was a day for hip hop heads everywhere to just rejoice and listen to 3 new albums, you know? That sounded completely different, you know.
It's the same way Mac and because Mac and Travis dropped on the same day, and YG also dropped on that day too.
Exactly.
I don't personally like that particular YG album. Still, that day in itself, like all 3 of them dropped, it's like I think so. But then it's different when you listen to music a certain way. That's exciting. But for a lot of people, if they not listen to music the same way, or if they listen to music passively, or if they just don't have the time or the ear to really listen to projects, separate them, be able to listen to projects for what they are, it won't be the same experience. Like for us, we could sit there and be like, if 3 projects, like 3 hip hop projects drop on the same day, that's great for us because we like, okay, these 3 great projects.
Which one am I gonna listen to first?
Right. You know what I'm saying? But
I can always sit on the other one. Like I don't have to listen to it till Wednesday. Next Wednesday, next week, Sunday of the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
So it really, but it comes down to how people listen to music. I mean, of course, you as a producer, like you're gonna listen to a certain way and have an ear for certain things as well. But yeah, I think like that's another thing too. Like people aren't listening to music the same, which is fine because they won't. But I think because people won't even acknowledge that they listen to music differently, it changes the conversation on the impact of music, which is already changed because of drop dates and.
I just think the impact. It's changed because we consume music differently now. So it's too readily available, I think, because it's like you hit one button. I mean, my music app is like literally the first thing on my dock, like at the bottom. So I hit that. Like I'm listening to an album in seconds. Like they didn't used to be that way. You had to get on iTunes. You had to download it, wait for it to download. It'll be midnight. You know, you have to do all these things. But it was just
that
it was a lot of steps.
Honestly, that was and then I know it's an easier process now, but truthfully, I think that was more of a joy as far as a consumer of music, because it really showed your loyalty as not only as a fan, you know what I'm saying, but into that specific genre, you know what I'm saying? Because as consumers, not only are you joining interest to that artist, but to that genre as a whole, because that artist represents it.
Exactly.
Not to like get off topic of what we're talking about, because this is great. I have a quick question for the both of you. And you know, recently we have an artist that's back out on the streets. You know what I'm saying? 6ix9ine. And I'm not, and this is not even for me to like throw any shade on this young man's name or anything, but just really as far as people that are lovers of music. How do y'all feel? Do you feel that he's smart as far as what he's doing to considerably stay hot and stay relevant? Was y'all a fan of his music before any of this shit went down? Him going to jail, all the allegations and shit like that.
Wait, you want to go first?
I'll go first with this one. I'm gonna be quick. I'm honestly, I haven't dabbled in that man's music that much. Of course, when he was collaborating with Ye, I listened to the few songs that he had just to see what they sounded like. I really think mans need to lay low, because you know, it's a lot going on, and I mean specifically now it's really a lot going on. But I just think you need to lay low. I don't mind you dropping music right after you get out, but you know, going on IG Live and talking and random stuff. Just, you know, stay low, stay in the studio. This is the time to work on your music. Just keep your head low, man. Just keep it even head. I think part of his artistry is the hoopla and the being loud and stuff like that, which is, I mean, which is right in the, I mean, it's right in the wheelhouse of like what kids are listening to these days. I mean, it's a lot of kids from, I don't know, 14 to 19 that listen to this dude. And that's why his song is number 3 on the Hot 100 right now.
Yeah.
So, but that's just, this is my personal opinion, and I know I'm getting a little older now, so I got a little different viewpoint of it, but still,
yeah,
it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. When Gummo dropped, I thought that shit was kind of hard. I'm not gonna fake it.
No, that shit wasn't kind of. That shit was tough. I'm
not gonna lie. When Gummo dropped, that was like the first time I heard him, and I was like,
"Hey, man," I was like,
he had
run that
bars,
back."
He had a couple bars in there too. I was like, all right, you know, this song.
The beat went kind of crazy.
It went kind of crazy, but from an overall perspective, I never thought he made great music, and I don't really know if I had really heard enough or honestly cared enough to see if he would go to that point. I just thought he fell into what was hot during the time. Like, he made a track that blew up on the internet and he went viral.
You're right, it went crazy.
And
like Lil Pump, you know?
And that's how we knew about him. But from an artist perspective, I didn't really have any opinion because I didn't feel like there was much to it. Like, I mean, and as far as, you know, everything that ended up happening, like Malik said, bro need to stay low, for real. Because I think just in retrospect, like, you had all that going on, everything about your entire process going through that has been publicized. You out, cool, whether people understand why you did what you did or not, whether people had an opinion on you.
You passed it.
It don't matter. You done. You're out. Move on with your life. Don't continue. Like, it's like the IG thing, the IG Live thing to me was like taking a backward step, because it's like you have no responsibility to address any of that. You truly don't.
I look at it as a point of, truthfully, I look at it as a point, it was marketing.
And trash that marketing has came to that, though. It's really trash that, like.
It is,
and that's, but I don't think, even with we knowing the entire case, that doesn't change the fact of this label that he still was signed under. He still have to go back and go to work for them after all this shit. Yeah, you beat the case, you know what I'm saying? And he probably got some new people in his camp, but wholeheartedly, nobody's coming in like, we about to switch up everything about you and it's going to be you, because his consumer is going to, everything of what everybody wants in him right now, that shit going to die down. And he come out on some calm shit trying to explain the situation. Motherfuckers, I'm not trying to hear that shit. I'm trying, right now, everybody is sad to say, but that's how society is. Like, that's really sad that that's how society is. It's like, I want to eat everything up about this. Like, that's why a lot of people, you have niggas like Meek and Snoop that, truthfully, you know, real niggas gonna be like, man, we understand. You know, we fucking with what y'all saying as far that nigga is a snitch. And then you got other people that's like, I'm gonna turn the cheek ass motherfucker is gonna be like, all right, it happened. You know what I'm saying? To them, he's probably still make good music. Or even if he don't, it's like they love the personality. Like, it's becoming a thing where music that 6ix9ine makes, it's like reality TV show. He's one of them niggas. Like, he's a reality TV show ass artist. We ain't give a fuck about what music you making. That shit might get played at a party, at a club, or some shit like that. But niggas want to follow the profile of 6ix9ine. That's what it is. That's what the real hype of it is.
Yes.
I mean, because it really it's a formula that's working right now. You know, you get one viral song, but it's sad when an artist that may not be, they may not have those Hot 100 numbers and stuff like that, you know, or those TikTok numbers or whatever. They have a song that go viral and it just, I mean, it don't go nowhere on the charts. Like, Don Toliver is a perfect example. Like, No Idea been out for a long time and went viral on TikTok. No chart play at all. I mean, he went platinum, but no chart play at all. You know,
that shit crazy.
Nothing.
Yeah, but that's wild.
That shit crazy.
But yeah, okay. IMAX, I got a couple more personal questions for you. What is the one thing every song must have for it to be solid?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, hip hop song specifically.
Any song. I mean, like, what does a song need for it to be like, okay, this is a solid song, or this is a song that makes you want to listen?
See, if it was me like 8 years ago, I would have said 808 or something. But like now, it's got to have that emotion. I think people just really have to feel it and believe that it's real. I know we in the era where the sound and just, you know, somebody getting hype off of it is key. But I think, you know, if you got that emotion to it, you know, it could go anywhere. If people can believe it, it can go anywhere. Because I mean, the one song that's coming to mind to me is like "Loyalty" by Kendrick and Rihanna. You know, like that song, like you feel it, like you start thinking about people, you start reassessing your friend group, like who's loyal or not.
Right.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, I remember the first time listening to the album, and I remember the song came on, and I remember I had to look around the room. Nobody was in there, but I had to look around the room like, no, well, because it was the sample, and then it was the fact that, like, whenever you have a song that catches your attention, and then on top of that, when it comes in, it grabs you with the emotion. To me, like, that's a solid song. That's a song that has it, and it's a song that has like a radio sound, but it's also something blast in the whip. It's also something that
that is very true.
Like, think about and reflect on.
Very
like,
true.
Like, yeah, it's catchy, but it's like what he's saying. Like, damn, like, who am I?
That shit was a very successful mental album. Like, damn, was like,
I don't know, but I don't know how many people can do that. I don't know how many people can have a commercial sound.
You could probably count on one hand.
Cause I'm thinking, like, you got a song like "Yeah," and I don't know if people listen to "Yeah" for real.
That song go crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But like, you got songs on there where the subject matter didn't change much from "To Pimp a Butterfly." We being 100% honest, like, in terms of how deep the subject matter is in his content.
It was just the interpretation of how it sounded, because "To Pimp a Butterfly" is like it's a quintessential Black album to me, because it's got jazz elements, it's got some tribal elements, it's got that old school samples everywhere. There's sprinkles of old school music, like, I mean, you got George Clinton on there, Ozzy Brothers was sampled.
He's just a tough listener. It's a tough listen.
It's a tough listen, but like you said, Steve, the subject matter didn't really change.
Right.
That much. It was just tweaked on how it came through on the beats, you know.
But yeah, I think.
Are any one of y'all expecting anything from Big Sean?
I mean,
I got a lot of expectations.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it. That was crazy. I was actually just having a conversation about Big Sean last night because I think somebody asked. We were listening to None of Your Concern, and we realized his last project was in 2017, and we were just like, he had dropped. We know he dropped a couple singles, and I don't know if somebody had asked like, was he done or what happened to him? And it was funny because I don't feel like nothing happened to him. I mean, I know he ain't dropped music. I know he ain't been around like that, but I don't feel like it's hard to say. I feel like he fell off. I don't think he fell off. I think you just have.
I think he went to that depression phase.
Yeah, I think artists have sometimes. I'm excited to see what he has next because I don't think like Sean is a great artist. People don't talk about it a lot, but Sean is a great artist. Like I fucked with Sean heavy, like when he came out. I think people forget how great of an album Dark Sky Paradise was.
Like it's amazing.
Right. So but you have a lot of artists that are like that. And I think sometimes we get so accustomed to how often music comes out that we feel like artists are entitled to release a lot of music or release music in a certain time span. Like if artists take 4 years between albums, yeah, that sucks for us, as fans. But they got a life, they got stuff going on, and they may not be in the creative space to be making albums. We don't know. So it's just one of them things where, like, I guess we gotta take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, it just like that sometimes.
I don't know. I think him flip-flopping between, his relationship with Janae. I follow him on IG, so I saw how bro was working out more. He was getting more into his spirituality. He was getting more into being Big Sean and having that confidence. I personally, and I feel like I always say this with Big Sean albums, I have the most honesty that this is going to be his best project because he's tapping back into this Detroit mentality where he's his roots. Mm-hmm. I mean, because Detroit arguably could be said his best project ever. Is that? Yes. I mean, that is cohesive with minimal features,
Detroit was like that for sure.
My whole life up to 24 carats ago.
I mean, that.
Dang it.
Yeah, Cole on there,
Listen.
He had some crazy beat selection, but I think him tapping back in with, he's back in lap with Hit Boy, which is, that man he cannot miss right now. Yeah. Hit Boy has so many records out, he can't miss right now. So, honestly, I've heard like a couple of things, couple of little snippets he dropped. He got this one joint that samples Human Nature. It's supposed to have Wayne on it. Oh my God. Sound like some like classic Big Sean. So I don't know. I'm excited, man. I think Bro is gonna drop one of the best albums of the year. I mean, I got a question for y'all now.
What up?
To this point, what do y'all think the best album of the year is in 2020? I know we like about a third of the way.
Yeah,
a little past third of the way.
Yeah, we're close to half right now.
Yeah.
Of all genres, or specific genre?
Of 2020 right now?
Any genre, like across the board.
Any genre? Okay.
That's tough. Best project? Like one?
One. Or three. It could be top three.
I can give you three.
I can give you three.
Okay.
I can give you
okay.
One was gonna be
no
tough.
Specific order. No specific order.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna go first. I'm gonna let you go first, Steve.
Okay, let me
really think about this, B.
Right. Let me think back to what's been dropped. My Turn is one of them.
Okay.
For sure. My Turn is definitely one of them. I personally, I wouldn't say I was surprised. I wasn't surprised by the album because it wasn't like I didn't think he was capable, but I didn't know he would give me. I didn't know he would give me that. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know he would bring that, and he brought it. So that's definitely one. Go ahead, drop one, Jesse.
Um, I'm gonna have to say better. I know me and Steve be having these takes and he'd be like, already, even when it just dropped, like my replay value is so quick with an album. Like if I just finished, and the fact that it's 45 minutes, so I could listen to that track like 6 times a day.
You in and out, right?
Fair.
Can you hear me now?
No, I'm saying like when you listen to an album, you like it's quick. You in and out. You know, like you go to the next one. You know.
But I mean, I sit in it sometimes too and like kind of relish in it. But as far as like when it's that short, opposed to like hour 30 minutes, it's like I can get to this a couple more times.
Right.
Go and drop your second.
Yeah, I ain't tripping, Jesse. I got a recent one. It was good until it wasn't. It's definitely top 3.
Okay.
Not it ain't as recent as better, but still it's still this month. But I think it's like he said, the replay value on that for me personally has been ridiculous. I don't let it ride easily about 7, 8 times at this point, and I'm never disappointed. I never feel like I just don't want to hear this particular song. Like it flows, it rides. So that's 2 for me.
Mine's second one. I think this tape was very overlooked. Like I know a lot of people was talking about it through its hype, and trying to do the whole he's underrated. But K-Camp Kiss 5 is actually like it is a very, very good album.
I didn't expect that one.
K-Camp Kiss 5 is really definitely a standout album as far as his sound, because it's like he's hip hop, but he's he's that hip R&B, the shit that we talked about as far as like Bryson Taylor's and stuff like that. But Camp has his own sound.
Yeah,
like
sure.
And Kiss 5 was loaded with a lot of content, like, and it was just like, all right, he's comfortable. He's not like, oh, I'm crying out or anything. It was like, yo, this tape is a vibe. Definitely top 2.
That's what's up.
I'm torn between my last 2, mainly because I think I would be surprised if Jesse didn't choose this one, but I don't want to say it because I want to see if he's gonna say it or not. Jesse, say your third one. I want to see if you're gonna say it or not.
We probably, I got 2 and they're pure hip hop.
So they both pure hip hop. Oh, I know you're not gonna say it there. Division.
See, that was gonna R&B was gonna be my second one, and I was between K-Camp and Division, but I do like Kiss 5. When I go back and play it, I kind of like it better than
I play Kiss 5 more than I play Amusing Her Feelings, but that's because I feel like Amusing Her Feelings is a specific vibe. Like it's a specific kind of, not so much a mood, but like Kiss 5 has that. Like Kiss 5 is something you can play in the crib, like, if you got something going on and you vibing with nature and whatnot, you feel what I'm saying? Or, if you in the whip, you know what I'm saying? Like that, hitting the whip too. So I feel like it's more versatile. But I feel like if you in the crib, like if you was in the crib having a wine night with your lady or something, like you could listen to Amusing Her Feelings. Or, maybe if you just like, cooking and doing something, like maybe you let it ride, you know what I'm saying? So but you had to be in a certain space to hear it. Still a great album nonetheless, but you just got to be in a space to hear it, whereas Kiss 5 is a little bit more versatile. You can listen to it in passing. It has more of just a flow to it from I can do shit around the house. I can be riding around. I can play it in people.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's your hip hop joints?
My third one is a tie because, for one, I really like a written testimony. Like, as far as a complete hip hop.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that, bro.
A written testimony is fire. But I'm also, I'm really in love with West Side Gun Project. It was like
Gun Project.
That Tyler joint?
Man, like I'm gonna have to leave it right there. It's between a written testimony and West Side Gun Project, and I can't really choose because it's like them as far as their rap style and how raw it is. They sound like very raw. It's like to me, I love raw hip hop, so that shit was like it was fire. That's what I think it is. But definitely, the Baby definitely had to stand out. Uzi was.
Uzi was. I think a lot of people like it was the hype of Uzi actually dropping. I think that was
right.
It wasn't. I wouldn't. But Uzi Project wasn't bad. I just feel like it fell into that category of like it was a lot of songs, and I mean Uzi was back, but Uzi, it's like, my thing is this: you got albums or tapes, and I feel like you got projects. And a lot of people are dropping albums and not projects.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would look at it. So
Exactly.
Uzi dropped a tape, an album. Like he's in his lane, he's doing his thing, but it's not a project. Only because I feel like it wasn't. I don't like necessarily had a theme. I don't necessarily feel like there was cohesion to it. I feel like he had songs, he put them together, and he dropped them. Not to say
And
that
dropped out.
that's what he did.
The deluxe saved it for me. The fact that he dropped
a lot of people say that.
Revamped it. I think it saved it for me, even though it was like 8 more songs. I think the Kobe joint, and then he had I forgot the other joint that he had on there, but the Kobe joint was Bean. That's what he called it. So that kind of saved it for me. But he had some gems because I listened to it. I was like on a work trip and I was riding back and I played it. And it was cool. It was cool.
That's real.
I enjoy it.
Say
that again.
How you feel about Future new tape?
Oh, I mean, I'm part of Future Hive. I'm probably not as deep far in as some of the cats and the ladies out here, but you know, I like it, but I feel like it's just a little bit too long for me. He's got some joints on there like the obvious to everybody, the fan favorite that's too comfortable. But I really like Trapped in the Sun. Trapped in the Sun started off nice to me. It felt like I was going back to DS2, and that's kind of what that heightened my expectations on there. Even though Metro wasn't on there, I don't think Metro was on there any. But it was a lot of Southside per usual. But when I heard Trapped in the Sun, I was like, man, DS2 Future back, like. But it was cool.
It's like that.
So how do you feel about an artist like Future, who I think is very well established, obviously, has a following? Where do you think his place is in music right now? Do you feel like he's in a place where he's creating a legacy for himself where he'll stand out and stand the test of time? Or do you feel like he's kind of falling into this pit of just he's here, but he's not separating himself from an artist standpoint, from a standpoint of being remembered as, a great, in a sense of whether it just be his specific lane, whether it be, what he does on hooks or what have you? Like, where do you feel like his place is in music?
I don't know, because I feel like he hasn't hit that pivot project yet. Everybody could arguably say DS2 was his pivot project, but if it was his pivot project, why didn't he follow up with something that was like totally different, but still Future? Because DS2, I think, will always be his best project, unless he drops something. I mean, to this point, DS2 is the most cohesive project. Maybe it was in that time that we was in, but I don't think he's hit that pivot project. Like,
a lot of people talk about Future and Hendrix, and a lot of people will say at least
like the double album.
Yeah, a lot of people will say at least one of those albums serves as a solid follow-up, to everything. I don't think they're on the same level. I think the projects, but I don't think they compare and they follow up from a standpoint of pivoting, like you said, from DS2. I feel like since he has the hops, it's kind of like you don't have too many people saying that he fell off or that he doesn't have good music. You have a lot of people that will argue he has a really good catalog. I'm not saying he don't, but who we comparing them to and what tier are we putting them in based on that catalog? Is a question.
I gotta put him in the B tier because
that's fair.
The A tier for our age group is very. I don't know. I mean, for us specifically being in our early to mid 20s, like this, we have a heightened sense of where we listen to a lot of radio stuff, but we also listen to a lot of stuff that's not on radio. So if you're gonna be in that tier A, you gotta have all of it. You gotta have everything on top of everything. Every single that you drop gotta be nice, and then you gotta have projects on projects. So I don't think personally Future's in my tier A because my tier A is like the elite of the elite. Like some artists like Travis, my Travis, Cuddy, Drake, Ye, Hov, K-Dot, all of those cats that's in my tier A. That's like, okay, every project they come out with is a lock, it's a smash, and then they got the singles on top of it too, and it's got the buzz around it too. So
yeah. Okay, another got a producer question for you now. Who's the best music producer in the game right now?
Oh, me, that was where I was coming with it.
I gotta know from you, brother. Who got it right now?
Tough. Other than IMAX, I don't know.
Fact.
Hey,
Hey.
Nah, I'm messing around, but my favorite I would say is by far, and she's been my favorite for a long time, Wonder Girl. Easily, I mean, just producing singles for like Travis on every Travis project, she has one of his bangers on there. From like No Bystanders to Can't Say to Antidote, you know, to she was on the intro of Birds in the Trap. You know, she has that specific Toronto sound, and I love her sound, and she's definitely influenced my sound. So she goes crazy. Everything that she drops is different. She's branched onto that R&B lane where she's made some crazy stuff. But hottest producer in the game right now? I don't know. I want to say Hit. I want to cop out and say Hit Boy, just because he's been coming out with some of the most consistent stuff. But there's some other cats out there like Jackson is another one that's going crazy.
What about some of them? What about some of them younger ones? When you think of Metro, when you think of, I'm trying to think like, you know, the Take Keeps, like Weezy, like
you know,
it's some. I feel like a lot of people like the producers you talking about. We know. I feel like a lot of people, you know, from the music they listening to and
don't know, right?
They don't know, and then so they know more of they know they can pick out Metro, they can pick out Weezy, they can pick out Take Heat, they can pick out, you know, like the sound of I won't say the sound of today, but the mainstream sound, if anything.
I think Weezy, and when I listen to Weezy's beats, his beats sound different because I mean that when Hot came out, Hot was my favorite song for a long time. And the remix just took it to another level.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, he dropped the joint with Gunna and Travis. He did goes crazy. But Weezy stands out. Take Heath has that Memphis sound to him, and he came out the gate with like Look Alive, and then he had Sicko, the back half of Sicko Mode. Another producer that a lot of people don't know that goes crazy is Ozzy. He's from Switzerland, but he produced like Tootsie Side. He did the first half of Sicko Mode for Travis. Like Ozzy's been working. He did You With Me for Drake.
Wow.
He's done some really big singles, but I think because he's from overseas, he doesn't get the shine that he deserves. But dude's been producing for a long time and has some big hits with some guys out there. But of course the new cats go crazy. Metro, Weezy, Take Keith, all of those guys. Jetson, like I said, they all go crazy. But in terms of hottest right now, that's very hard. That's very hard to choose because the charts, how they pivot every week is different. Even with one of my favorite songs this year, and I wish they would drop a project together, is The Scott. I think that song is like it's coming. I'm
gonna claim it. That album coming. We need it.
It's coming, and I could tell they had more in the chamber when they was doing their little IG live together. But Take a Day Trip produced that song with Mike Dean and a whole bunch of other people on there. But they did Mo Bamba for Sheck West. So that's like a duo of producers. And then they did Panini for Lil Nas X. So they've had some really hit singles out there. I think they up and coming. They got some heat. They just don't have singles as often as some of these other producers like Weezy, Metro, and Jackson and people like that. So
yeah, that's real. I know specifically I want to ask. So Hitmaker. Talk about. But no, I don't know how many people know like Hitmakers. First of all, I don't know how many people know who Hitmaker really is. But talk about like that story and talk about somebody who kind of was smart enough to understand that being an artist, you know, wasn't necessarily the best lane for them. And to make that change and to do what he's done, for y'all that don't know, Hitmaker is Youngberg. So, like, to just talk about that, like from your perspective, what does that mean, or if it symbolizes anything, just from a standpoint of just chasing your dream, or just, you know, following, you know, your dream or your goal of, you know, really becoming one of the top producers, and then like just finding your lane in the industry. I mean, for everybody's not meant to be an artist, but if you have the versatility, talent to do both, hey, maybe find your lane, and he did. So just give me your take on that.
I think it's part of it is just being honest with yourself, you know, just knowing that some people just not cut out for it. And I found out early on, I'm like, this rap thing, I don't really want to, like, I have fun with it, but I don't really want to do it no more. Like I definitely want to do producing. I strictly want to do the beats. Like I don't care about the fame, and I just want to, you know, if I'm becoming famous, I want it to be me being a producer rather than me trying to subpar rap with some of the best cats out here. And I think he realized that, you know, that's not my lane anymore. I'll go do something else, you know. And he's turned out to be an excellent producer, got some crazy singles. It's just like I was listening to Producer Grind podcast with Cardo. And Cardo talked about how early on he wanted to be a rapper, but obviously he's one of the best producers, I would say, of all time. Because after he came out with Never Been, and not Never Been, Mesmerized with Wiz, I mean, he was certified legend. So, you know, it's just picking that lane and knowing that, you know, being honest with yourself and say, hey, I'm going to do this rather than doing that. I'm way, you know, just looking at the mirror and say, hey, I'm way better doing this. I'm not going to be something that I'm not trying to be a famous rapper when I'm really a like amazing producer that just needs to stick on that.
Cardo's sound is very unique. Like it is very raw, and it influences a lot of sounds like Currency. You got your Primo Rice's, your Larry Jones.
Like floating.
Like and it's, and if I feel like that wave, that sound is eventually is gonna get that like, oh, this shit heat, because right now that sound is really like it's kind of like a backpacking sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't catch its wave yet, but I feel like it takes. We all know it takes that one mainstream artist to switch up a flow. You know what I'm saying? And
one
just
single,
like
man.
One single.
One single hit the radio, it's done.
Done for it.
Because
all the artists you mentioned, aren't your mainstream artists or aren't radio artists.
Right.
So don't let the right radio artists get a hold of one of them beats and go crazy.
It's over. It's just like that drill, you know, like how drill made its return with Pop Smoke, and rest in peace Pop Smoke. How it made the return, and then Drake started doing it. You know, all the UK grime artists started doing it. But that's, I mean, and I'll talk to you about it, Steve, and you had sent me your playlist not too long ago. My man Larry June.
I can't wait till he blow up. Like I can't wait till he blow up.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. Blow up. Because I'm mad I found out about him so late, because it was wild. It had to be like, it was like December or January, and hella people was like posting him on his story. I was like, who is this nigga?
Hey, he's the truth.
That's what I did. I literally was like, I hit somebody up that had been posting. I was like, what's the first track I need to listen to? And they took me back to 2016 tape. So I started there, and I promise you, one day I went through that man's entire discography, and I couldn't stop. Like literally, I was listening, and I was just like, oh, okay. Immediately went to the whip. Oh,
tough.
Okay.
Tough.
It's definitely whip music.
Right. So now I'm like, man, I listen to Larry June every day. My girl get pissed. She be
my first discovery of Larry June.
Like, Larry, whoever, can you not listen to him no more? Can you listen to somebody else? Like, no, absolutely not. I'm bothering. Okay.
My first discovery of Larry June is kind of was just like how you was, like, because a couple of people, they was already hip to him, and I was hip to Primo. I was hip to Primo before Larry June.
Yeah, I know it was a connection, because I was hip to Primo, but I ain't know it was a correlation. Like,
what they was like, they sent me. They was like, man, get it to Span. You fuck with Primo, so you gonna fuck with this. So I'm like, man, all right, but I already know I fuck with Dom Kennedy hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
I heard it.
heard.
I'm like, you know what? Hold on. This nigga got more music. Let me see what the fuck he got up his sleeve.
Definitely another Dom, bro. And what's
Right.
sad is I got hip to Dom, and funny enough, I got hip to Dom in 2014, our freshman year, Malik. Like I remember I was in, I forgot what project I heard, but it was my first time hearing Dom. And it
had to be the Dom Kennedy tape, because I had just dropped.
I'm trying to think.
It dropped in 2015, so it probably was.
No, not that one. Not that one. I listened before. The first one I heard had to be.
Was it West Side with Love?
No, back. It was either West Side with Love or Get Home Safely. One of them two.
Oh, Get Home Safely? It had to be Get Home Safely.
But I went back and listened to from West Side. Not even West Side with Love 2. I listened to Yellow album first. That's what I listened to. There you go. And then I did West Side from Love 2. Then it was Get Home Safely. And I was just like, because Don, to me, I was like, oh, that nigga man. Oh, because
each project was getting
Yellow album is like that. And then the way he opened Yellow album with Love too, I was like, oh my God. Like
that West Coast sound is unmatched.
It's unmatched. And I think what happened with Dom was because when he dropped by Dom Kennedy, it was like it was cool, but I could tell it was a drop off from the last tape. And then from there, he just never really, to me personally, matched the vibe. Like pre by Dom Kennedy Dom, you will always catch me playing his shit. Always. I'm a forever play them first three for sure. But no, like that sound, like Larry June reminded me of Dom, and I think because it was refreshing to kind of get that Dom sound that I was used to again, that's another reason why I fucked with it so hard. So it was just like, yeah. So that's
Larry, man. Look, and part of me loving it is because like I'm a big Cardo fan.
Yeah.
So and Cardo on every other beat that Larry got, but man, it's really wavy, it's really smooth, it's easy, man. It's an easy vibe that you listen to.
And the struggle he talks about is it's a relatable struggle from a standpoint of like just grinding. Like anybody that grinded, like you just feel it because it's just like he grinds like in his music. That's all he talk about. And when you hear his music, it make you feel like just getting to it, just getting active, like just
grinding, staying healthy,
right? Look,
drinking smoothies.
Literally, it's a whole.
And it's not. I mean, he's so easy with it, but it's like he's influencing people to be healthy. Like who don't want to listen to somebody that telling you be healthy? I'm gonna go get this organic juice real quick.
Right.
Like
orange juice from the store. Like just
right.
Like crazy. But
I have a question. As far as you, Malik, who do you feel like has that next sound to be the next it? And I'm not talking about like one hit wonder, but actually he actually has a solid, decent discography of some tapes behind his name already, but he's missing that. But he can be that next level, the next it factor for the music game. Who do you see as
artist or producer?
Artist.
Artist. It's a couple out there that I think. One is from Toronto and works with Wonder Girl. And a lot of people was telling me he sounds like 6ix9ine, but I didn't really think about that when I first listened to him. He's an artist named Jugger, and his stuff is like super high energy, like really bass heavy, like really. It's some darker stuff to it, but it's super energy. But I think he has one of those sounds that could take off in that city specifically and then branch out elsewhere. Next is Don Toliver, easily. I think that man has the potential to be one of the greats. The way that he harmonizes R&B and hip hop like simultaneously is like easily that. When his album, I'm really surprised that people haven't tapped into it more because.
You think people haven't?
I really don't like. Obviously, No Idea and the joint After Party is starting to take off, but and Cardigan as well. But I think it's some couple deep cuts in there. Like my favorite song on there is the song called Company. It starts off real slow. It's kind of like a reversal, but
I mean, Euphoria,
it comes out to
Euphoria
goes crazy. He's got some real joints on there, and granted, it's heavily Travis influence. Like it's a lot of Mike Dean on there, But I think he has the next steps to proceed to be one of the greatest. He just needs another couple his singles to kind of bubble out there, other than No Idea, and he's grand. He's ready to go. So
yeah, that's real. I definitely put his album. I'm actually surprised I didn't put his album in the top 3. It's up there for me though. It's an album I revisit a lot. I mean, I think because I was a fan. I was already a fan of Don Toliver, and then I heard. Fuck, what is the song? I can't remember the exact song. It's not No Idea. I can't remember the name of the song.
He had a couple singles floating out there. He like
floating, but then when Jack Boys dropped, and I was just like, because he stood out on Jack Boys, and I was just like,
hey,
okay, he for real. And then the album dropped, I'm like, okay, like I felt the same way. I'm like, he can beat it because it's the lane Travis took. So if he can find a way to keep the influence but separate the sound and create his own kind of niche, if you will, I think he got it. But for sure, I think I definitely agree with that. I know I got 2 more questions for you to end it off, and Jesse, I don't know if you got anything else. Mine are 2 kind of like big major questions. But yeah, so the first one is, so this has been floated around. It's never going to happen, but I want your take on it because these are 2 of the biggest artists in the games and 2 that you're extremely familiar with. If there was to be, it won't. If there was to be a versus battle, it was going to be Drake versus Ye. Who's taking?
I'm taking. I mean, that's no question for me. I'm taking Ye.
I feel it.
But I'm not. It's not gonna be no blowout by any means. I just think Ye has been out for longer, and the point that makes Ye more potent is because Ye has a lot of features that he's also producer on. Like he's the producer on. So when you think of joints like Swagger Like Us, Run This Town,
Ye catalog is far deeper than people like to give him credit for. The thing is, they could win on his own catalog alone. Like it wouldn't be a blowout, but he has the ability to win on his catalog alone. But if you throw in features, because both of them have, things that they've had where they stole the show. But I think it's hard. You're not going to be able to knock or dismiss Ye's production credit, on his.
That's how he got there.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's funny because I think even in versus battles where you have to go song for song, I think even if you're going to go by that technicality, I like song for song. I think Ye will have the upper hand because if Ye's starting, I think he has more songs that Drake will not be able to match. And if Ye is rebutting, I think he has more songs that can outdo the song that Drake starts with. And I think that's what it comes down to.
It's crazy when he could play a song and you not even hear his voice on there, but you hear his influence. Like
exactly.
The whole blueprint, man, like H to the Izzo, Takeover, Heart of the City, all those joints he had, like Bonnie and Clyde, 04 Bonnie and Clyde, or 03 Bonnie and Clyde, all of those songs he had before, the Monica Knock Knock joint. You Don't Know My Name by Alicia Keys. Like all of those little
back
in the day, like
the student hasn't. All right, let me ask y'all this, and it probably is not really a conversation anymore. But do you believe that Drake and Wayne would have been an interesting battle?
Okay. Is mixtape Wayne allowed?
Yes, win.
It's not a battle.
Not a battle.
It's not a battle.
Right, not a battle.
It's not a battle.
Because when you
gotta think about this.
Drake doesn't have any. He has one mixtape, but Weezy literally catapulted his career from being Weezy from the Block Is Hot and doing all these records to like 07 mixtape Weezy to like the Carter 3 to like No Ceilings. That like stretch right there catapulted him to one of the best rappers of all time.
Literally.
Beyonce was watching her.
Literally. So.
Beyonce watching who?
She talking about no. I wish Maury was on her, but
Beyonce watching who?
Nicki.
Easily.
Nicki.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out. Like,
nobody can battle Beyonce. Let's just establish that right there. Nobody can battle Beyonce. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Who can? You're not gonna name anybody who can go song for song with her.
I think that's one of those things. I'm gonna have to sit on and then try to throw it back out there.
Wait, are you trying to find another like women artist, or are you just talking about artists in general? You're not gonna find no other women artists that can
There's
go.
only a few artists in general,
yeah. But yeah. I want to do it based off of definitely a woman to woman. I don't think it'd be that's really crazy, bro. She's in an elite lane of her own, bro. Like,
there's no other artists that can't.
That shit crazy.
I don't think there's any that will ever.
Truly, at this point, the catalog's too deep. At this point, the catalog's far too deep.
Yep. Anything on top of this is just icing on the cake. You know,
literally.
Steady growing, bro. Like, and she's not even giving full projects out no more. Like, she's out here giving live albums. She out here giving homecoming features, like
compilation albums,
right,
bro.
Soundtracks.
Give it everything. What's crazier about B is like she hasn't even tapped into lanes.
She hitting that stride that Hov did.
That's the scariest part. Like B is fully capable. I'm pretty sure she's fully capable.
She's about to become like she's making her sound very universal.
Right.
And that's the wild part to consider. Like, how many artists can do that or like have that much versatility? That's the crazy part about it.
I just think I don't know. I don't know what switched off from. Of course, Destiny Child was like at a point where everybody loved Destiny's Child, but like I don't know from what point she went from Crazy in Love to like Drunk in Love. It was like some switch that came on.
That's all it was. Exactly
everybody
what Sharon
was like, you know.
She just grew up. She matured.
Yeah,
she just grew up. You know,
you evolve. It happens, and I think though people don't consider. I think people sometimes forget. Like I don't even think people remember. Well, they remember, but like for her to have been in the game as long as she's been in the game, like
true,
music will be different. Of course,
she was.
It's been about 25 years since she.
Yeah.
About it, you go from Destiny Child, then you have your solo career, but then you have kids, like, and that changes your whole perspective. And it's just like, and it changes the way you approach music.
Ivy was special. Like
so, to see where she's at now, and to see like even her approach, and the thing is she does like she only works with the best. So to know that like she's working with the Dream, like that's like your go-to. Like you call the Dream.
Dream is one of the best writers ever.
Hey man, look, people gonna put respect on Dream name. I don't think they
don't found his niche. It just took
who
off,
is the best writer ever? Like we got some crazy writers.
Ooh, best writer ever?
Yeah, for like any.
Because you got.
Okay. The messed up part is the person who needs to be in the conversation shall remain.
I know you about to say right, exactly.
But
he's up there.
He would be up there.
He would be up there if it was.
Babyface is up there. Dream is up there. There's probably so many though, bro. Like you gotta think how many people we don't even know they full writing credits like that. That's probably
the most underrated to me is Carrie Hilson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
When they dropped
Carrie Hilson is one of the best writers ever.
They dropped her writing credits list. It was just like
I heard Yachty got a couple credible writing under his belt.
Yachty wrote the
Chance.
The City.
I can't remember the song out the top of my head.
I know Chance wrote for Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. I know the Migos have been writing for Beyonce. And
bro, the way writing credits work in the music industry, like that's something I think that's not talked about enough either. You know, you got a lot of artists that's out here with writing credits on some really big really big names and on some really big songs.
Even the old school like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Babyface, you know, they had some big like writing big records that they had some pens on and produced on.
So you know it's a lot. It's a lot. So
it's a lot.
But yeah. But shoot, yeah, man. I don't know. No, we don't touch on a lot. It's been a great combo. I guess unless you has any parting questions or words, my only parting question or kind of just words to you would be, what do you have in the works? I know you recently, dropped a project, and we'll make sure we get all in here for everybody. But are you working on anything else? Do you have any plans for the rest of the year as you know it? What's the looking like?
I got a question too. That one.
Okay. So I got a project. It's not mine, but I produced the whole thing with Landolin.
Landolin joint? Yes, sir.
Dropping pretty soon, the 31st. I'm excited about it. I've heard it a couple times now. It's elite. It's the beat selection that he picked, and going back to me, it was like, what do you think? And I was like, this is crazy. So start to finish, it's only like a 5-song EP, but start to finish is really, really, really good. He picked some beats that I wouldn't expect him to pick. So he's his own A&R. He don't need one. So, but that's crazy. But I just been trying to expand my sound. I've been doing some different things. Really trying to get my feet wet in terms of industry stuff. I really want to start reaching out to some A&Rs and to some labels and pushing some beats out on some different artists and really kick it up a notch rather than working on my own projects. I think I'm gonna take a while off of projects for a little bit and then just kind of focus on making that pivot into the industry and trying to make that push. But there's always some records that I wanna get out there. But I got a whole list of artists that I want to work with. Some are like obvious choices if you know me and you know what I listen to, but there's some artists out there that I really, really want to work with, and just kind of get some groundwork with and see what's really happening out in the music industry world. So, but yeah, other than that, it's just full force on music. But what was your question, Jesse? I know you had a question.
Kind of got two now that you have finished another question dawned on me. But the first one, as a producer, what do you look for in an artist that you're looking to work with? And whether it be you seeing some untapped potential in that artist, what is it exactly? Like, what's the sound that you're going for? Because I know you have a range. Listening to a lot of your production beats that you got up on Apple Music, your range varies. You know what I'm saying? It's not just set like, oh, this is hip hop and anything. Like, it can go from alternative, it can be hip hop, and I think that's like, for those that are watching this, that's the type of, like, his sound is similar, revolves around that. But for you as a producer, what are you looking for in an artist to work with now?
I don't know. I just think that personally, longevity, that's the key to me. A person is ready to make the next jump into the industry, they definitely got to have that longevity and be willing to be in terms of acting up. But they got to be willing to be in it and be ready to make that move into the industry and be ready, because I mean, all the artists are looking for, all of these companies are looking for, they want them to be radio ready. So the more polished you are, getting close to your single being out, that's perfect. But I do like trying to help build artists. There's a lot of artists that I try to work with to kind of like help build their sound and kind of help them do beat selection, even if it's not mine. Just kind of help them build and grow ready. So when so-and-so gives them that call, or when they're ready to make their independent jump, they're ready to go. But I like versatility in an artist, and somebody that actually likes to care about how sound works and how beats work and how, placement of a beat works, instead of just rap. I give them the beat raw like it is, and then it comes out exactly how I sent the beat. Like, I want to hear some difference, like they did something to the intro, or they extended the beat, or they want me to come in and add something else. Like, that's what I really like in an artist, that takes that artistry into like full form. So.
Okay. And then my second question, I remember last year, I hit you up through social media. And one of the things I was talking about was we was talking about the Dreamville camp. As far as you being like a coming up producer, what do you believe that is an essential piece for a lot of up and coming producers? Like there should be more of those.
I 100% agree, and I wish I mean, it was a lot of heavy hitters, but I wish I would have made it down there to a session or two because I feel like I could have, even if something else came out of it, not necessarily a placement on a project, just having the opportunity to just simply play beats is the key. If somebody could hear that beat, like, man, that's crazy. Just having that opportunity because it's so easy to get lost in. Everybody wants to be a producer now, but what is the difference? What are you offering to this specific artist? Do you know, like some artists look for somebody that's really vast in music theory. I'm not really vast in music theory, but music history, and in terms of sampling and who made this and what were they doing with this type of record. I'm really good at that. But it just all depends on what the artist is looking for. And just to have a chance to be there with an artist, I think that Dreamville project was perfect. I mean, to send all these invitations and fly these people down and have sessions and go over 10 days and have various different rooms with artists, engineers, and producers and writers and stuff like that. That was genius. I wish, and Ye kind of started to do that with like Cruise Summer. He would like fly people out, and Watch the Throne, he would fly people out. But Dreamville wasn't like everybody that was closer to the good music camp. This was like far-ranging people like Smino. I would have never guessed that Smino would have made the album 3-4 times,
Man.
So
as on each feature.
That's crazy. Right.
Yeah, no, that's
that was my only two questions. So.
Yeah, man. So no, that man, I can't even fathom the fact that we got this to happen. The conversation was exactly.
I know, right? With these circumstances.
Right. But the combo was exactly what I thought it was going to be, exactly how I thought it was. I mean, I know we've all been connected for some time, and we've been trying to make this happen for some time. So, man, thank you for giving us time on this holiday to just rap about music, man, and rap about you. And yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if Jesse got anything else other than that.
Appreciate y'all giving me the platform to talk. I mean, this is easy to me because I feel like I'm just sitting with y'all back in Como talking about music. That's how easy it is, So I appreciate y'all giving me the platform and being able to be the first guest on the pod to kind of speak and elaborate about music, something that we all love. So, yeah.
Thanks. I definitely appreciate you not only coming on the show, but like you drop a lot of gems as far as production wise, history, collabs, writing. Like you really came with it. So we definitely appreciate you for that, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on, man. Appreciate it.
There's gonna be a lot more respect to your art, just for the simple fact that if people didn't think you knew what you was talking about, or people thought you just make music, they clearly know now you a student of the game, and so it's a lot of years behind this. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, especially for I think people our age. I don't think people our age and our generation are getting credit for being students of the game. Going back and doing that research and understanding the past.
You have to, man.
Yeah, you have to understand it to realize how you're going to transition into the future, or just be able to sustain through the future. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I will say this though. I'll end it with this. This will be the final question, but I feel like this is a great question for any producer. One, it's a two side. So one, favorite sample you heard, and then two, favorite sample you've used.
I'm gonna start with
ended on a high note. You know what I'm saying? Got it.
That's crazy. I've never had nobody ask me that question. I appreciate that.
It's the interlude.
Right, the interlude. You gotta do it right. I'm gonna start with favorite sample I've used. It's for a beat I used called "Keep the Faith." It was off of King Warrior project that dropped last December. It was called. It's about artists. I think a group named After Hours is called. The song's called "I Don't Want to Cry." It was just a '70s group of ladies that was just singing with each other, and I had never heard the sample. I came up on it on YouTube, and I was like, this is crazy. And just the way I chopped it, the way I added stuff to it. And then I had my brother John Jackson come in to kind of help me refocus the placement of the beat and kind of restructure it a little bit. So that's one of my favorite beats I've ever done. I got a lot of samples that I use, but that might be one of my favorites. But my favorite sample used in a song, that's tougher. I'm trying to think of
or
my favorite.
Or at least one that stood out the most when you heard it. Like
one that stood out.
Like,
I'm gonna have to say something off of Dark Twisted Fantasy. That sample on So Appalled, when I first heard the leak, which was like probably late 09, early 10, it's like an old like soft rock band from the 70s, the Manfred Man band, something like that, which actually Drake sampled them for like an old Drake leak that never came out. It was supposed to be on Thank Me Later. But when I first heard that sample to the finished one, was crazy because I didn't know up until that point that Ye had all those samples recreated on that album. Like those samples aren't actually the sample. If I was doing it like right now and took the record and chopped it up, it's not the same. He had people come back in and replay those samples.
Man.
So that's the crazy thing about it. So
that took that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy documentary of the creation of the album, bro. That's probably that's definitely
the
a
best, man.
top. Man.
That album, how many hours went into that album? Just plain and simple, like man hours, like multiple people, not just Ye's 24 hours a day, but everybody that was there in Hawaii making it with him was just plain and simple one of the best, that I've seen. So
indeed. Yeah, man, I think that's definitely a great note to end the episode on, man. Thank you again.
No problem.
Man, shoot, me and Jesse gonna stay on for a minute, but again, man, thank you. We appreciate it all, and shoot, we'll just catch up with you, whenever we do, and next time, and it's gonna be all love, bro, for sure. But again, I just thank you, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Right on,
bro. For sure. All
appreciate
right.
y'all.
Much love. Enjoy the holiday.
All right, you too.
Yes, sir.
All right.